youth elsewhere are very anti-establishment type people.
Thank you very much. I think for me personally, I always wanted to give back to society. And through volunteerism, it was actually one of the best ways to actually give back through community service to not only the community but to our nation. And throughout the way, actually, I found out that there's many Cambodian youth like-minded like mine. And that's why it was through volunteerism and community service and activities that actually brought us together. On the second part, I think, of Cambodian youth being anti-establishment, from my experience working with our youth and also encountering them, it is true that there's many aspects of society that our Cambodian youth are dissatisfied. But I don't think that they are necessary and wholly anti-establishment. From my own perspective and the experience that I have with them, our youth are very full of potential. They are great potential for the future of Cambodia, and they need to be inclusive because they are part of the solution and not the problem. They are hardworking, they are very dedicated, they are very creative. I think that is very important. But nonetheless, I think we need to work with them. I want to make sure on this. We need to work with them, not for them or against them, so that we actually can galvanize all the resources, all the mind, all the creativity, all the free thinking, so that we can actually unite and work together toward contributing positively to an even better Cambodia.
What efforts are you making to win over the youth who are the rising force in Cambodian politics?
That is very important. First of all, my personal take is that our youth are very smart. They are very able to make their own decision. Whatever action that they will take will be contributing positively and also to the development of Cambodia, because it is in the interest of their own future and also the future of the nation. But nonetheless, I would like to share and also send a message, share my own experience as a youth also, that there's 4 attributes in which I think our youth need to be always aware of and consider. First of all, our youth need to be educated. Education is the key to any successful leadership at any level. Secondly, they need to be well informed, because there's many types of information that will allow them to be successful or really distracted from what will make them successful in life. So they need to be mindful of that type of different information, so very well informed. But they also need to be critical minded, in the sense that they need to question every bit of information. It doesn't matter, it is coming from the government, it is coming from the civil society, NGOs, or private sector. It doesn't matter where it is from. They are able enough, they are smart enough. They need to question the assessment, the assertion, the type of information, in order to really be able to own the decision making at the end of the day. And the last point I would like to make is that because youth are the leaders of tomorrow, they need to bear the responsibility to safeguard and also develop the country in the future. They need to be really educating themselves with the responsibility that they have to bear. Because I think as a leader, you may have the power and you have the rights. And youth, we have the rights to exercise our rights. But we also need to have the mindset to bear the responsibility of our own action. That is very important, because with power comes responsibility, and exercising our rights will also lead to certain action. Exercising our rights through action can definitely lead an impact on and create a consequence, whether good or bad. But at the end of the day, you need to be a man, and you need to be able to bear the responsibility of your own action. And I think for myself, if our youth are being able to train ourselves to be mindful of those important factors, being educated, being well informed, critical minded, and also their own responsibility for own action, whatever the decision at the end of the day that our youth actually makes in terms of political force and as a human resources or human capital of this country, it will be in the best interest and in a very positive, I think, direction, not only for their life, but also for the country as well. And just also, this is exactly, as a CPP member, this is actually exactly what CPP is about. That's what we have been doing, and really not only educating our youth to understand about and participating in politics, but being able to broaden that aspect into other aspects of youth affairs, education sector, I think medical, employment, and other aspects as well, so that our youth not only are able to understand politics, but also being able to equip themselves to become leaders of tomorrow. On the forefront, I would like to say that although the upcoming commune and national election are very important, but I think not everything is about politics. Although they are related, and also, of course, youth participation in politics through our individual vote are very important. But youth also need to consider of other focus as well. I think including the issue of education, job, family, and they need to also consider about the skills that would actually equip them with the foundation to be successful in life. Especially now that the country is opening up, the pace of economic development is actually increasing, not only within Cambodia, but also at the regional level. So the competitiveness within the job market require our youth to be equipped and very well. Basically, it requires higher and higher qualification. But nonetheless, I think our youth need to be aware and need to focus, need to give an attention to political participation. And on this regard, as a CPP member, I would like to, my message to our youth is that CPP government may not be the perfect, everything that we do may not be the perfect one. But CPP is the only party with the maturity, the experience, and the concrete achievement to really give and offer solution to the issue that is still concerning the youth today.
Given your many responsibilities, how do you find time to engage with young people and your constituency as well?
Thank you very much. I think sometimes it is always a question of how you balance it. But nonetheless, I think it is not only me. As a Cambodian youth, like many other Cambodian youth, we have to juggle between our work, our family, and also our education. So like I always say, if our youth can do it, so can I. And if I can do it, I think so can they. But as a CPP member who has the responsibility and the trust of the people through each election, to render service and to lead this country for the betterment of our people and our nation. This is our way to give back. This is our way to fulfill our commitment to the trust and support that we have received from the people. And I think not only myself, but even the president of our own party, Khmer Times Alan Parkhouse, is out there, not only as a Prime Minister, not only as the Prime Minister at the international level, but at a grassroots level. And everywhere he goes, he is with the people. So the main job is not only myself, but also every member of CPP, including our president, who understand and are very thankful to the people who have shown CPP again and again their support and their trust, and trusting the ability for us to safeguard national integrity, national sovereignty of Cambodia, but also the continuing effort to better and also develop Cambodia even further for, of course, at the end of the day, it is for the people.
We'll lighten up the questions a little bit. We'll just say, you and your elder brother...
I think that is one thing about the Prime Minister, also, of course, my father. Not only the three brothers, but also our sisters are often being sent toward the humanitarian work on his behalf, of the parents' behalf, but aside from also what the children have been already doing. So on the way, I think the issue in Kampong Speu that I think occurred last March was another example of what the concern and also the attention that our father really paid in regard to his people. I think it was quite an experience. I think we drove there around 8 or 9 p.m. We reached there around 10 p.m. To the detention center. I think what went through our mind was, first of all, we need to eliminate all the prejudgment. Because, of course, seeing the report on TV, there's a lot of emotion, a lot of trying to figure it out from the emotional aspect of it. But what we actually discussed along the way with my brother was where do we stand? We don't have a stake in it, and there's things have already occurring. So the first thing that we told ourselves is that we need to eliminate all prejudgment. Nonetheless, we cannot actually not factor in the 2 ladies that have been detained, I think, in the detention center. But secondly, we wanted to be there fresh, listening to to the ladies, what would be their argument, what would be their comments, listening to all the other stakeholders, I think, during that night. Being mindful that everything that we take in is on the basis of without prejudice. We take in all the information first. We objectively evaluate, but nonetheless, always being mindful that not undermining the rule of law. And also the legal practices, that the legal aspect that is already there. So it is, I think, a great lesson on how to tackle an issue fresh and being objectively able to really understand holistically the issue, and also being able to offer a solution to a proposed scenario and solution to our leaders. And I would like to also clarify that that night was a fact-finding mission also. With the first was to allow the 2 ladies to be out of detention.
Okay. In hindsight, would you have addressed the issue any differently than what you actually did?
I think, knowing with what we know now, I know there's probably many things that we could have done differently. But without the knowledge that we know aftermath, there's no way we can do. But again, I do believe that each situation and issue present its own problems, own angle, own context, in which that we need to be objectively factor in and listening without prejudice all sides of the story to really have a very holistic point of view and objectively analyze it. But at the same time, being mindful what is the legal aspect that we cannot undermine without it.
A bit of a trickier question coming up. You once said that Cambodia may face uncertain times if there's a forced regime change, changing government. Can you elaborate on this?
I think I would like to first clarify that comment I was not sure who actually reported this. Of this comment I have officially made. But nonetheless, I do believe that I would answer it more from my understanding of what it is. I was born in 1982, meaning way after the country has been liberated and the genocide regime has been overthrown. Although they remained until 1998, but I was still able to live or grow without the fear of running away from place to place. But nonetheless, it doesn't mean that I don't know the lesson learned from our country. And if you look at completely, it has not been long that this country has been able to research, to stand our own feet strong, and being able to resurface on the international stage. Most importantly, because we have peace and stability. So I think in the future, what our leaders have always tried to mention to us, but also not only as CPP, but also for the generation to come, to always value peace and stability, because you don't know what kind of suffering that people may face. So in any aspect, from 1991 and also the first election in 1993, we have the constitution that we have actually been maintaining, and what constitutes the Cambodian constitutional monarchy, and safeguarding, I think, this principle, and also peace and stability is very important to move forward. So that's why youth play a very important role in terms of how to participate and to dynamically contribute and being part of the solution rather than the problem. The last election, we have seen many aspects that both trying from certain entities calling to youth to the street, calling the overthrow of the government through force, through street protests. This can also degenerate into a situation where Cambodia becomes unstable. And with instability, every aspect of daily life will be affected. Because of that, while I think the opposition party or opposition entities or the right to voice or to assembly is guaranteed under the Constitution, as long as you exercise that right within the framework of the Constitution and also the legal mechanism that allows you to do, that is okay. But once you are impinging and also stepping over the boundary of what the law allows you to do, I think the government has the responsibility and also the legitimate power and authority that has given by the people to exercise its own authority to preserve peace and stability according to the rule of law and also what allows it by legal means and in the Constitution also. At the end of the day, it is about the well-being of everyone, not only just a few, a handful few, but again, underpinning our historical perspective, the lesson learned, also not jeopardizing what as a country we have achieved until now, and also the economic development that I have seen, I think, growing at the moment. So keeping stability and peace and stability is very important. Still, with the understanding that people have rights under the Constitution and they need to exercise that right, as long as it is under the Constitution, as it is stated, as stipulated in the Constitution and other legal means, that is okay. That is Cambodia democracy. But if you transgress that, if you overstep that boundary, then the government has also the right and the legitimate authority to keep peace and stability under.
When you're dealing with the youth, and you deal a lot with the youth, what are the most common grievances expressed by young people, and how do you engage them? What do you do to convince them about the kind of future they can expect?
I think there are many, not only limited to Cambodia, but the type of concerns and also the grievance, either perceived or real, are similar from Cambodia and the rest of the world, I think within the region or globally. But nonetheless, I believe that the government has done the best as it can to address more or less the existing issue and challenge that they need to bear at the best, and in terms of prioritizing what is need to go first and not need to go after. But I do believe that most importantly, the message to our youth is that any reform, any change need to be mindful of the timing, and we need to be patient. We need to keep hoping with positive thinking that we can overcome. We have, as a country and as a nation, We have overcome many things already. Moving forward, life is not about challenge. It's always about challenge, and as a country we will face other and new challenges in which we need to bind together, we need to contribute positively together, and always keep positive mind. And our youth, how can our youth participate, how our youth can actually join in this? First is believe in your own country. I think keep positive thinking. Need to be ready to participate in problem solving, also be part of the solution. But also need to contribute positively and constructively to through whatever they can in terms of small action or big action. And I believe that together with CPP government and also the inclusiveness of our youth, who are increasingly a very important sector of I think of the demographic. There's many things we can overcome together, but all challenge need time and need hard work and to move forward. I think there's many issues that we need to consider. Sorry, maybe pause a bit.
Have some more.
Sorry.
You do very well.
Coffee is good. What are the prospects of Cambodia future from your perspective?
Basically, what does the future hold for young Cambodians? From their perspective.
I think as myself, also being a youth, I believe we need to be to stay hopeful. We need to keep on thinking of what we will achieve. There's many things we need. There's many things that not only youth, but our Cambodian society, but as a nation, we are facing in terms of challenge in the future. That it will need a lot of us. It will need all of us working together toward resolving this issue. And I believe that from my experience meeting with many youth, and also with several years doing youth work, and also meeting all the youth at the grassroots level, and also through volunteerism, we have seen that there's many entities who have been trying to tell our youth about we should have this, or you should want this like other developed country, in which I can tell to our youth also, I want the same thing. I want that in the future Cambodia will reach a level of development like those developed countries. But we need to be really pragmatic, we need to be really hopeful, and we need to be mindful in terms of we need to do best with what we have in hand in Cambodia. Yes, we may want, for example, I want to see Phnom Penh to grow and becomes a metropolis like Singapore. But we need to have time. We need to have time. We need to a lot of hard work, a lot of dedication, and most importantly, it needs the right leadership. I think as for youth, we need to set our dreams and our vision very big. Not only for ourselves, but also for our nation. Our nation is not without problems, but we need to keep ourselves hopeful, motivated, and also dream big. But we also need to know that dream big or having a big vision cannot just realize just through wishful thinking. We need to do a lot of hard. We have to give in a lot of hard work, a lot of dedication, a lot of patience, and we need also to have the passion to motivate ourselves and the will to actually grow. And more importantly is that we need to unite together to actually do. My vision is, and any aspect I will believe, every Cambodian, I think a prospect for the future of Cambodia, any Cambodian, not only myself, not only you, old, young, women or men, living in Cambodia or living abroad, all Cambodians want only one thing. It is what's best for Cambodia. And that's why we need to dream big. As for me, it is the same thing. We do a lot of activities in terms of raising awareness about not only our youth to understand that what they can actually contribute through the event, but also how we can actually, through organizing an event and make it successful, can impact on the image of Cambodia or the standing of Cambodia on the international stage. Guinness World Record in 2015, for example, on Koh Songkran and other things. So I believe, despite all the issues, despite all the shortcomings, I think there's many aspects that we should be proud and we should congratulate ourselves as a nation for what we have achieved and how far we have come. So I do hope that our youth can share the same vision as I do, meaning how to contribute, I think how to make Cambodia even brighter and even stand even higher on the international stage and continue to develop. And believing that together, working together is very important toward that vision. So each youth need to dream big. I think need to have a high vision, but also need to be pragmatic and down to earth enough to be able to give in the effort, the sacrifice, the dedication. And as long as they are successful themselves, I think the country will be successful also. Regardless and despite all circumstances, as long as every Cambodian choose to believe in Cambodia, choose to believe the bright side of Cambodia, it will keep ourselves motivated and also allow ourselves to give in all the effort as much as possible to push forward that dream to realize, which is an even better Cambodia.
How do you tackle that phenomenon, as in getting messages out and things like that, when there's so much out there that's not actually right?
I think everything is about balance and everything is about education. The access to information and the revolution of the information technology is a right in its own self for our youth to really be able to have access to information. But nonetheless, as you pointed out, not every information are credible, not every information are constructive, and some information allows you to propel yourself into a successful life. But some information is just about distraction. So at the end of the day, it is up to the youth to consider, to evaluate the information. But I think what is important, we need to educate our youth to be able to be mindful of it. And that's why I think education in school is very important. But outside school, we need to have a platform to educate our youth to be able to consider all aspects. Internet doesn't mean positive or negative, but they need to be able to evaluate objectively and also be critical, as I think I went back to my earlier answer, that what type of information would be important for them to know and to advance themselves in terms of ability to make their life successful, either in the private sector or in the public sector. And I think it will need a lot of education, not only in school but also outside school, because as we have seen, not only limited to Cambodia, some type of information receiving in either internet or social media can be very harmful to one life, to one family life, and as for society as well. And we cannot, I think, block or hinder those type of information because it is a right. But nonetheless, I think we need to educate. We need to find a balanced mechanism in which we need to protect our youth and also our children from harmful information, and that can be leading them to an abyss. Either it is their vulnerability to, I think, sex abuse or exploitation by criminals and other things, or human trafficking. So a wide range, and of course to extremism message and things like that. So we need to, there's a lot of harmful information out there, but there's also a lot of constructive message out there. So I think it is an issue that we need to continuously tackle, and we need to find a way to educate our youth to be able to dissect the two and become really well, because at the end of the day, their welfare and their success in their own life is the key to every aspect and the most important factor for us.
As a youth leader, how do you tackle social issues with youth?
I think, as I mentioned, at every stage of development for Cambodia, but I'm sure not limited to Cambodia, the demand and the grievances are always different. During the aftermath of liberation, the most important thing is feeding the people. Also preserving the peace and stability, meaning that the stability from the falling back to the genocide regime. As the country develops, I think peace and stability we have already received. And the government has been able to manage enough so that it is keep under control, and hopefully in the future as well, so that we can actually focus on country development as well as infrastructure development. But it also arises other challenges, not only in the city but also throughout the country. I think those challenges need to be understood and need to be addressed. Most importantly, need to be looked at and understand, and how the government need to be able to offer the right remedy for them to do, to the right remedy to those challenges and concern. I think it will be an ongoing progress of learning, but nonetheless, I think the government has addressed somehow, I think more or less on this issue. Again, the key is education. Of course, education will need a long time to actually sink in versus I think a more populist narrative in which it incites people to come out and be angry and be at the end of the day anti-establishment against the government. But there are just challenges that needs time to resolve, and it needs to be incremental mechanism to resolve bit by bit. If we cannot resolve all in one jump, we actually need to address it ongoingly, and again, to resolve the issue is working together is very important.
Do you think there's a lot of expectation because you are the Prime Minister's son? There's a lot of people expect you to do so much.
I'm sure that there are, but nonetheless, I know myself that there's much I can do, but there's also limitation on what I can do. What I always tell myself, and also as a team, that sometimes you need, of course you need to dream big, but you need to be able to do what you can with what you have. You cannot actually try to have a big, I think, end goal pragmatically and expect to do it in one jump. So like I always say, my motto to our UYFC family, for example, youth, you may not have money, but if you have the will, you can donate blood, because then it shows that you actually are able to do it. But because of it, there's also probably the expectation as Prime Minister's son, and I will do the best that I can, not as Prime Minister's son, but what I can deliver back to society. Again, there's high expectation, but I also know what I can do, because at the end of the day, it is the responsibility and the ability to deliver. So if you put it too high and you are not able to deliver, you're not only lying to yourself, but you are actually anger the expectation. So for me, it's really clear. When I go do something or I try to fulfill an activity or an event, I set my goal that is realistic and pragmatic to be able to reach and achieve. And of course, I cannot do it by myself. It needs a team, it needs like-minded people, and to understand the vision of what we do. And then the sacrifice and the hard work goes a long way, the same way. Not necessarily. I'm happy, I'm blessed to have a father who, yes, as a professional, as a position, he's a Prime Minister. But nonetheless, his background is not a Prime Minister. He was not born a Prime Minister. And he's an individual, an exceptional individual who has not forgotten his roots. Seeing him at Kampong Speu, he was with the people at the market. And this is what we have been raised. You are not the Prime Minister's son. You're not exceptional over other people. You don't have rights over other people. Actually, it's the other way around. The requirement for us to deliver in our professional job is tougher from our father, because he wants us to be able to stand on our own 2 feet. He never actually give us direction. He give us the end direction of what we could do as stated in the obligation that we do. But he doesn't tell us A, B, C, and D. Here you have to turn left, here you have to turn right. He is able to give us the guidance and allow us to learn how to make mistakes. And by making mistakes, he is able to give us his perspective and also the explanation on how we can actually grow further, rather than just you go there, you turn left, you turn right. And I think that's why not only myself, but all our brothers and sisters are very blessed of having a father who is beyond, I think in terms of workload, he is beyond anything we can tell. But always still have the time to give the children his attention, his warmth, but his, I think, wisdom of what we should do. And most importantly for us, is always about allowing us to learn how to make mistakes. But mistake in our own work, not being all over the place in society, that is not welcome by society. So I think in that regard, it is not about giving up freedom. But what we do, of course, we need to be mindful that a lot of youth actually look up to not only myself, but a lot of youth leaders. So I think example needs to be set. And it is not, but it doesn't mean that you have to give up or you have to act. We're just the way we are because of how our parents actually raised us. What you see us on screen or on event, we are the same off event. That's just the way we were raised. I have many encounters, even including, I think, one of the most memorable event that occurred was when we actually have a forum on Lengo, on the new law on NGO. And a group of ladies, beautiful and warm ladies, I think, of course, from were present here at the National Assembly. And she was basically demanding certain solution rapidly. Of course, off screen we were talking and things like that. For me, it's always about learning experience. And it's about also not lying, because you cannot lie. You cannot go to tell the people, okay, I can give you the moon, or I can give you this. For example, there was a request for us in Oral, in some area, to build a house right away. And the only reason, the only thing that I can offer them, that let's be frank. You build a house, you need at least a few months. You need more than a month. You need sometime a year. And that's only one house. So what happened when 100 people want 100 house? So we need to be very pragmatic. And we need to be very frank. One thing that I actually learned, regardless of what you see on TV, our people are quite honest. A handful are sometimes opportunists. But our people are quite honest. Now, if our people are quite understanding. If you actually spend the time to listen to them and to really put the factor in that, okay, what you are demanding, this is good. For me, I divide it into 3 sectors. Their requests or their demand. Some you have to actually wait a long time, and only government can do. For example, electrical linkage. You can actually go and deliver. You need to actually a lot of investment, not only in terms of power source, hydroelectric or other things, and pole linking. But other type of demand that it needs time. For example, many schools needs, high school need more buildings. I said, okay, I need to go and check because it has to do with money. Money is not everything, but without money you cannot do anything. So we need to spend time to actually galvanize and find donors so that we can actually galvanize the money too. But if the demand is very simple to deliver, okay. So instead of just either lying or false promising, you divide into, you partition the type of the problem, and we need to be frank with the people, because one, they understand why it takes a long time, why it is hard to deliver. They are quite reasonable, they are quite understanding. The many aspects from most of the time what you see on TV and social media is usually a lot of people go and say, when you demand, you get it. And this is the creating a false expectation. And for me personally, leaving party politics aside, it is very harmful in the long run of Cambodia. You are actually teaching or giving an idea to the people that everything can be realized like this. It is not possible. Certain things we try our best to do and to deliver, but in the long run, when you're actually educating, especially in the youth, you're educating the youth to not work hard, to actually just sit down and really demand. At the end of the day, what will be the competitiveness of Cambodia in 10, 20, 30 years in the future when the whole human capital are not hardworking, are not competitive, are not dynamic enough, and really wait? For me, it's always about communicating about the youth. You need us to help you this. You need the government to assist you on this. You need me to assist you on this. My question was that, have you already helped yourself? Because what if you cannot help yourself? You cannot expect everyone to keep and ongoingly help you. So it needs to give in everyone in terms of hard work and in terms of knowing our responsibility. So very important, and the expectation of delivering right away, that is unfortunately pushed by certain entities for political agenda. But it's not only harmful to party politics, but it is harmful for Cambodia in the long run. May be harmful in Cambodia because you're creating an environment where human resources are more passive rather than competitive.